Be a nattering nabob now and give me your negative team in free agency.
I'm hedging between two of them, but I'll pick this one. I don't love what the Saints have done, man, and it really just kind of starts and kind of ends with Derek Carr. And I say that because I'm not sure that signing Derek Carr makes them a championship caliber team. And, when you're talking about the Saints, you've always got to mention that they go through cap machinations, right? And they figure it out and they figure out a way to put a team together. But I don't know, Peter. I look at what the Saints have done, and you're still kind of relying on an oft injured Michael Thomas, which I don't like the point. But look, it's just the truth. His availability has been in question for the last few years, and they've reworked his deal, and that's all well and good. But does Derek Carr really make you a championship caliber team? I don't know. I don't even know if it makes them the best team in that division, unfortunately. And so they've got a lot of questions to answer with that. And so, yeah, it starts and ends there. Is Derek Carr really going to be the solution for them? I don't know. And I don't even know if he makes them the best team in that division so far. And that division is not even the best division in football. And to me, if that's the case, I don't really know how good of a signing that is, Peter.
Yeah, I mean, someday someone's going to write a good book on what has happened to the Raiders. And this is a crucial year for Josh McDaniels. But
yeah,
I'm just going to tell you, Miles, last year I was in training camp early on with the Raiders, and I sat in on a 45-minute meeting with Josh McDaniels and Derek Carr. And to say they were symphonically one would be an understatement. You could just tell they were finishing each other's sentences. So I thought things were really going to go well. And I also think that when I look back to all his years in New England, Josh McDaniels didn't always have a warm and fuzzy relationship with Tom Brady, but obviously it worked out. And Josh McDaniels coaches guys hard, and some players don't like that. It's obvious that other guys like Darren Waller and others have not liked it early on in Las Vegas. And so we'll see how that all works out. But I think that for Derek Carr not to have worked in Las Vegas when he's got a coach who is designed to get the best out of his quarterback, look what he did with Jarrett Stidham. I don't think that's a good sign for Derek Carr. We'll see. Maybe Derek Carr now will prove Josh McDaniels and everyone in Vegas who doubted him wrong. But you just look at the Raiders over the years. Josh and Derek Carr has just never gotten them over the top. And last year, arguably, was his worst overall year. And he leaves, and what happens? They play their best defense in football, and Jarrett Stidham shreds the 49ers with 365 yards and 31 points, or 34 points. And again, look, that is a matter for another day. But I'm not saying that Derek Carr is a bad signing. I'm saying that is going to have to be a prove-it signing to me.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Miles, I'm going to pick out a team that might surprise you a little bit because they've been totally inactive in free agency, and there's a reason for it. I'm going to pick out the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens have not kept pace with the teams in their division. If you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, who've signed an excellent guard in Isaac Sumalo, and who also signed a corner who had one of the best years of a borderline Hall of Fame career, Patrick Peterson, at corner. And then you look at the Bengals, who got a left tackle for the next 4 years in Orlando Brown. And all the Baltimore Ravens have done is sign 5 very, very low-cost, low-profile roster filler guys in free agency. That's all they've done. They have not tangibly improved their team. And there's a simple reason. Because they've got Lamar Jackson eating up a lot of cap space when they don't even know if they're going to employ Lamar Jackson in 2022. And I would just make this point about this sort of, bad blood apparently between the Ravens and Lamar Jackson that seems to be holding up a deal. I'm not sure there is as much bad blood as people think there is, but there obviously is some. For Lamar Jackson not to be signed right now, one of the things that he has to realize is that the longer he waits and the longer he basically holds the Ravens hostage, and you could argue, well, wait a second, the Ravens could just pay him a fully guaranteed 5-year contract. As I have talked about on this podcast and in my column, paying Lamar Jackson a market rate 5-year fully guaranteed contract, to me, would be the height of insanity. And so they're not going to do that, nor should they do that for a guy who's missed 34% of the snaps the last 2 years due to injury. So by Lamar Jackson not getting a deal done, not sort of, quote, playing ball with the Baltimore Ravens, it says to me two things. He doesn't really care that much about what this team is going to be like, and all the players that they lose by not being able to establish a contract with Jackson with a cap-friendly 2023 number that would allow them to go out and enrich their roster. So there's that. And then the other part of it is, and I've thought of this, Myles, he might be saying, I just don't care about the Ravens, and I am going to force my way off this team. Just watch me. And so at some point, if they do not get this contract done, Myles Simmons, I don't know what the point is. Is the point going to be June 19th? Is the point going to be August 10th? What is the point? At what point, if they can't get a deal done and Lamar Jackson has not signed his franchise tag, at what point will the Ravens say, that's it, and just cut him and let him go, and then move on this year with, pick a guy, Matt Ryan, or some person to play quarterback this year, and then figure that we're going to do something next year about our quarterback situation. The last thing I'll say about Baltimore, Myles, if I'm Eric DeCosta, if I'm John Harbaugh, if I'm Steve Bisciotti, Ozzie Newsome, if I'm the brain trust of that team, I am saying, who's the best quarterback in the second tier of quarterbacks beyond the top four? Who is it? Is it Hendon Hooker of Tennessee? Who exactly is it? And I would be telling my new offensive coordinator, Todd Monken, we want you to study every one of these quarterbacks like you've got to take one to win games this year. So I think you're going to see the Ravens take one in the top 2 rounds. We'll see. But if they don't have Lamar Jackson signed by draft day, I'll be shocked if they don't take a quarterback in the first 2 days of the draft.
Oh, Peter, I thought you said we weren't going to beat people over the head with Lamar Jackson talk in the first part of the podcast. No, but I
lied.
Look, I continue to think that the way that Lamar Jackson has gone about this is bad business. And, he has the right to do what he wants. He has the right to represent himself. He has the right to reject any contract that he doesn't want. But I think right now, kind of what you're seeing with the Ravens, and you pointed this out, right? It's a $32 million plus, a little over $32 million cap hit that the Ravens have to have right now because Lamar Jackson is only on the franchise tender and he hasn't even signed it yet. So at this point, the Ravens are kind of hamstrung in what they can do. But at the same time, you haven't really heard about any team being legitimately interested in trying to work out an offer sheet with Lamar Jackson. And so that is where there's just sort of this impasse. And, I don't really know how that gets solved. And I think it would be good business for the Ravens to say, yes, we know we need to take some sort of quarterback because, look, Tyler Huntley, I think, is a capable backup, but I don't know that trying to start him for 17 games is really going to get you to where you need to be, right? And I say that with all due respect to Tyler Huntley, but look, the last time we saw him, he was fumbling at the goal line, and Cincinnati returned the darn thing for nearly 100 yards and, had a game-changing play in that playoff game. So it's just, You're at this weird impasse. You know, Lamar Jackson does not have the deal that he wants, and he can still seek it. But yeah, it doesn't seem to be good business, in my opinion, right now with what is going on there. And I don't really know how you solve that without Lamar Jackson having some sort of change of heart, because at least right now it seems like he is very stubbornly, and this can be a good thing for him, right? If he gets all the money that he wants eventually, and I don't know that he's going to do that, but he is locked in on exactly what it is that he wants. We don't necessarily know that, but whatever it is, that the Ravens have not been willing to match it. So at this point, you're just at this impasse, and the Ravens have to have some sort of contingency plan where they will be okay at quarterback, not just, in the coming year, even though they want Lamar Jackson to be there. You got to plan for the fact that he might not be. And yeah, I don't know how else you can do it.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.